Right. Hello, everyone. I see some new faces. So I assume some of you have not been here before.
Hi, I recently just joined today. This is Bitan.
Hello, hello. People are still coming in. And I see some old friends. So let me just say a few things before we begin our class. Be sure that you are going to be safe. Be sure that you take care of yourself during this class, that you have a space to work in. Doesn't have to be too big. Doesn't even have to be as big as mine. Just big enough that you can maybe take a couple of steps and reach out your arms in different directions. And be sure you have water nearby, stay hydrated. And Tai Chi is very much an exercise that has to do with finding where we really are and accepting that. So we're not going to be stressing and straining to do anything perfectly. We're going to be actually paying attention, bringing our attention to being in our center and letting ourselves be soft and present. So I'm going to light a candle. I like to do this at the beginning of every class to offer the energy that we're about to generate together for all beings. Not just for ourselves. Good. And we shall begin. So one more thought, if you find that you can't hear me at any point, please signal right away. And also, if you have questions as we're going through, it is okay to interrupt me. And if you have a question, particularly about the understanding how to do a movement that we're doing, rather than save that kind of question till the end, let yourself be clear about what we're doing, okay? So let's just stand. Be present in our bodies. Feel your feet on the floor. They're about shoulders width apart and they're parallel, like as if they're along two railroad tracks. So nothing like that, but very straight. And feel your breath. Just take a moment to inhale and to exhale. As soon as we bring our attention to our breath, I find, at least for myself, immediately my breath slows down just a bit. And where is your breath? Where is the next inhalation coming in? Is it up here in your heart, your chest? Is it even higher in your throat? Can you allow it to sink down? Is it now maybe around your belly button? Let it sink down well below. Put your thumbs in your navel. Where your pointers are touching is what we call in Tai Chi and Qigong the Dantian. The Dantian, classical Chinese word for this part of our body, this, what the West now calls the second brain. Our center of movement, our center of gravity. This is what Olympic gymnasts spin around. Let your breath come into the Dantian. You may actually feel your belly move. You still have your hands there. You'll feel the belly move your hands as it expands and relaxes them. And each expansion pulls down the diaphragm, that big muscle at the bottom of your rib cage. And each relaxation back releases the diaphragm, naturally opening the chest and drawing air into the lungs, and naturally letting the chest go back and expelling air from the lungs. So as we go through this hour, you might remember to allow your breath to be all the way down in your belly. In fact, not just in this hour. Good advice for your daily life. So many of us think that take a deep breath means blow up our chest. Let yourself feel that taking a deep breath means going deep. Deep in your body. To your center. And from the Dantian, you can let your hands down and feel down now through your feet. Feel how your feet can soften on the floor. How the bones of your feet can almost lay down on the floor as the muscles and the flesh of the feet softens. And all the joints of the lower body can soften, the hips, the tailbone and sit bones hanging down to the earth. The knees always with a little flexibility. The ankles. Feel the soft quality of your Dantian listening to everything in your feet. And one more postural thought or experience. Put your pointer finger at the center of the top of your head, what is known as the Niwan point in Chinese medicine. Right where your soft spot is. And feel that that is the highest point on your body. Automatically and naturally, your chin will relax forward just a bit. The vertebrae of the back of your neck will elongate, and all the vertebrae of your spine can hang like pearls on a string. You can imagine from that point, there's a thread that goes up to the center of the heavens, and that thread lifts you, holds you upright. And that thread also allows you to hang down and soften every part. So I'm saying imagine, but use that thread as though it's real. Still breathing into the Dantian. And let's turn a little bit from the Dantian. Feeling how the whole torso moves as one. The arms are moved by the movement of the hips. The knees and the feet stay pretty still. They're really not turning, are they? They're simply rooted into the earth. We don't hold them rigid. But this turn is a turn of the torso. We can slow it down. And let that turn of the Dantian bring up first the left arm and then the right arm. So this is our first position. We call it embrace the Tao. Simply being aware of the breath, the feet listening to the earth, the head top held up to the heavens. The softness of all your joints as you are supported by that string to the center of the heavens and by the earth below. Embrace the Tao. You're opening to acceptance of all that is. Beyond our approvals and disapprovals. Beyond our fears and our joys. Beyond our likes and dislikes. That feeling of embrace that you feel with those you love. Feel that for yourself. every part of you. And let it spread out to those you love. Like a sphere of awareness with its center in your dantian. And let it spread beyond those you love. Let it spread to all the beings of the earth. The humans, the animals, the birds, the caterpillars, all life. And let that sphere grow to hold the earth, hold the rocks and the rivers and the mountains and the lava. And let that sphere grow even further out to our sun, out to our galaxy, out to the billions and billions of galaxies that we can see. And then beyond that to the billions and billions of galaxies that we can't see. Let your sphere of open awareness spread beyond anything you can imagine. And then beyond that, with its center in your dantian, and then with your breath, let that sphere come back, bringing back the best, the beneficent energies that you have encountered. Back to our galaxy and back to our solar system and back to our planet. Let all the beings of our planet feel this energy you found up there. And then let your sphere of awareness rest as a point in your dantian. We're going to let our arms down now. Before we do though, feel your arms. Is there any place in your arms where you've been holding? A place that got tired? I didn't say, I said last week, but I want to remind you that when we are holding the arms up, you can always let the arm down and let the dantian bring it up again. We want our muscles to stay soft and empty. And now let your arms float down. Feel that the room you're in is full of water and let them really float down through the water. My teacher, Professor Chang Man-Ching, it's a picture of him, one of my teacher's teacher, really. He used to say that Tai Chi is like swimming in air. We're now breathing the arms, inhaling them up, exhaling them in and down. Almost as though there are strings on the backs of the wrists that pull the arms up, and then the fingers. And the elbows' very weight brings them in and down. So we're supported by that lift to the heavens. We're supported by the earth beneath our feet, and we're supported by the very air around us. Feel the silken movement of your muscles as the arms are lifted. Feel this scapula of the back of the shoulder blades sliding along your ribs. And that great ball and socket joint of the shoulder. Letting yourself feel each space around each bone as vast and empty. Feel that emptiness in the joints of your elbows. Where 3 bones meet. And in the joints of your wrists. And then your fingers and hands, many little bones there. And feel the spaces around them. Open, vast, empty. We have an internal focus with this breath as well. This is called the yin-yang breath. And we imagine the yang internal energy moving up the spine, through the center of the top of the head, and down the front of the body, through where your tongue rests on the roof of the mouth, through your heart, through your dantian, reconnecting to itself at the perineum. This is a circuit of healing, vital energy that is always present in your body. We're not making it with our minds. It's one of the first things formed when you're a fetus. But we are tracing it with our awareness and our attention. We are allowing it to release where it's held, or open where it's been closed. And that energy that circulates in these 2 major meridians of the body radiates out to every part of us. So if there is a part of you that is in pain or that is tired, allow that energy to radiate there with the breath in the dantian. When I was recovering from breast cancer surgeries, radiations, and chemotherapy, there was a period of time where I could barely move my right arm and shoulder. I was doing this sword form with a pencil. And this particular movement and breath was my main way back to strength in that area of my body. So healing for the arms, for the shoulders, and for the hands. If not, also for the rest of the body. Of course, it is for the rest of the body. Feel that release as you're exhaling, and the wrists and hands and fingers go over the waterfall, just joint by joint. Let's do 3 more breaths at your own pace. Feeling that quality of release as you exhale. and go over the waterfall joint by joint. And let's step out a little. So the feet are a little wider than your shoulders width. Still parallel. And we're going to shift the weight. The new part of what we're doing. We're going to add another layer. I could even be a little wider. We're going to shift and turn. And that turn comes from the dantian. And it's a turn of the torso. So feel how as you shift and turn, the feet stay flat on the floor. You might say the pause, because this movement is called the constant bear and looking owl. Bear is holding a sphere or a ball. The paws stay flat, spread, and listening to the earth. The hips stay soft, even as we fold to one side and the other. And it's the movement of the dantian that does it all, that shifts the weight, that turns the hips, and that turns over the ball. We're inhaling one way and exhaling the other. And on the head of the bear is the little looking owl. So that owl reminds us of our upright connection to the heavens. Maybe being an owl, it reminds us of our wisdom. And it reminds us, like the owl, to allow our gaze to be open and deeply relaxed. You can even feel the relaxation of your eyes. Your eyelids relax. Your eyebrows soften. The eyeballs themselves and the eye sockets soften. And all the connections of the eyes to the face and to the brain, all the blood vessels and nerves soften. The gaze becomes soft and simply moves along your horizon line as your dantian looks through your eyes. And how are your feet? Are they still flat? Feel the weight shift from one to the other. Feel the difference in the feet when they have the weight and when they are empty, but still adhering to the earth. Feel the softness of your arms. You may begin to feel little flashes of energy as the chi in your body is moving. You may feel some tingliness. Do you feel that in your hands? You may begin to feel the energy you're gathering between your palms, almost like a solid substance That is the chi that we absorb with every breath and with these movements, and that we release where it's been stuck, and that we bring into our body with the fresh oxygen from the trees. So with every inhalation, we fill with chi, and with every exhalation, we send it to all parts of us. And rest. So I like at this point to talk about utilizing the chi that we're gathering, because we're so aware of our hands right at this moment. You look at your hands; they may look a little pink, and feel them. Do they feel tingly at all? Yeah. Well, we're going to use that energy for self-healing. So put your hands anywhere on your body. Choose one part. Choose one place. Bring the hands to that place, and bring one hand or both. And remember that this kind of touchy touch that we're working with here, it's not about manipulating the flesh or the bones, as many Western massages are. It's not even about pressure. It's simply about presence, the presence of the palm that is bringing attention and listening. So listen to this place on your body that you've chosen. Listen with a full breath. The quality you're looking for is as though you're holding a baby. So you can do this anytime, for any part of your body, something that chronically bothers you, or something that you just happened, like you stubbed your toe. And we do have more formal self-massages. So I'd like to do one of those right now. In our tradition, they come from our Qigong tradition. And I'd like to do the same one we did last week, which is our knees. Real important in this work. I'm just going to get a chair. Sorry to walk away. I hope you all have something to sit on. We're going to sit down. The knees are so important to us, right? There are shock absorbers. We never, ever want to tighten the knees. We call that cutting ourselves off from the energy of the earth, and that locking. You never want to lock the knees. Let them stay soft, at least a little soft. You don't have to sink way, way, way down. That is possible in some Tai Chi, but you can be anywhere from except with them long. Let them be soft. And we're going to sit down now, and we're going to do 49 circles of the knee cap, that patella, silver dollar size bone. And here's how we do them. I'm going to ask you to count for yourselves. Let the hands rest at the top of the knee. And we're going to circle, and remember that they always begin down the inside. We circle around the kneecap and back up. That's one circle. Okay, so begin for yourself, 49 circles. With the breath, of course. With the listening quality and attention. You can try this at various speeds. I usually start very, very slow, and then gradually I speed up a bit, almost like whipping whipped cream. Go what feels right to you. This can bring great healing to the knees. Some of you may have had knee replacements. A great way to help the knees to heal from that kind of surgery. And if you're nowhere near that, a really good way to just keep your knees healthy. Anytime they're tired or injured, do your 40-minute circles. You can do fewer. Never do more at one sitting.
May I ask you how much pressure you're putting on?
You know, the body stays relaxed as you do your circles. You may need to lean forward a little bit for the bottom part of the circle, but that lean forward is not a collapse. It simply comes from the base of the spine. The shoulders, the neck, everything is staying soft as the energy passes through from your dantian to your palms, and from your palms to your knees. Keep going. I'm going to look at you.
Can you hear me, Tina?
Hello. We have a participant that's asking about how much pressure to put on.
You can let the palms stay right at the edges of the patella, or you can let the circles be a little bigger if there's a place in another, wider area that needs the touch. When it hurts, touch it. That's what Professor used to say. Okay. So when you're finished, we're going to get back on our feet. You can put your chairs out of the way so you don't bump into them or trip over them. Although, if you need a chair, I'm not really sure because I don't know you all. It's so different not being in a room. But if you need an aid for balance, feel free to have a chair, to use the back of a chair or a table. When you are using an aid for balance, try to remember that leaning is not necessarily the best or the most healthy for your own balance, but rather sometimes just touching something and using it as a support, knowing it's there as a support as we do a movement.
Yeah. Do you know what that's so?
As you're walking, anything at all. And
It's
also, I want to add that if anyone wants sitting down, that is fine. You can do that. But let me know in the chat that you're doing that so that I can give you more specific modifications each movement. This work is about accepting ourselves as we are. I see I got a message here. I got a note from the library tech that someone asked a question, how much pressure to put on the body. And I want to add again that what we're talking about is a quality of listening, not pressure. The pressure is, there is definitely contact. In push hands, we call it 4 ounces. That's one way you can think of it. It's the very lightest and absolutely present listening pressure. Okay, I hope that answers your question. We missed it for the knee circles, but I think you may have got it. So, and remember what I did say, that you can interrupt me to ask a question like that. One easy way to unmute yourself is simply to hold down the space bar. And while you're talking, then you don't have to change the mute status on your computer. Just hold down the space bar. That works with a laptop. I don't know if it would work with a phone or an iPad.
Are you able to?
We're going to do another movement. We talked last week about the 5 elements and how we work in this class with the 5 elements. a wonderful way, a prism through which to see the world that comes to us from classical China and is the basis of much 5-element Chinese medicine and Qigong and Tai Chi. And we're working now largely with the wood element. All the elements are always present in us, but in the spring, the earth itself is bursting with the wood element. This element, that this phase of life is another way to look at it, that is about finding the direction we want to go, seeing our vision ahead, growing. In our life cycle, it's our childhood and teenage years. So let's stand in our bare width. And we're going to shift all the weight over one leg. Doesn't matter which one, you can mirror me or follow me. I'm doing the right leg. And then the Dantian is going to turn to about 1 o'clock. If this is 12 o'clock, just about 1 o'clock as the hands come up in front of the shoulders. And it's opened the empty foot to that same place. Okay, all the weight on one leg, the empty leg opens the foot. The Dantian opens the foot of the empty leg. Now we shift the weight forward very slowly, feeling like you are a root growing up out of the ground, or maybe a seed that has just come out of its shell and is sprouting and growing right out of the ground and towards the sunlight. And when we reach about 70%, actually I should say precisely 70% in that front leg, feel that. Feel that you really have more than 2/3 of the weight in the leg that is in the front. That your hips are facing straight out over that front foot. That your hands are about ear-eye level. That your arms are staying relaxed. And let's shift back to the root, feeling how the arms are simply drawn by the body. They come down a bit, back to the shoulders, and all the weight goes down to the root for another burst of energy, another spurt of growth. You can inhale as you go forward. Feel that moment when you really have most of the weight in that front foot, and both feet are soft and both feet are on ground. And the knees and hips are soft. And then exhale as you go back. And one more spurt of growth in this direction. With an inhalation. And exhale back. And let's turn to the front. Closing the foot. Shift over that foot and let the Dantian open the other foot. And grow in that direction. The wood element in us is very adaptable. Can change its direction without losing the goal. So maybe we came to a little obstruction and we had to change our direction just a bit. The way a branch of a tree can angle itself to get the light that maybe was blocked by another tree. Moving with the breath. Feeling your deep roots into the earth. The wood element manifests in us as our eyes, our liver and gallbladder. The liver is called in Chinese medicine the official of planning and strategy. And that's the wood element, the architect of our lives. Let your arms soften. Someone talked last week about their arms growing tired. Remember, you can always allow your arm to simply go down and let the dantian bring it back up. But within the movement, see if you can find what in your arms is thinking it has to hold the arms up. And if you can allow the dantian to hold the arms. Let's turn to the other side again. Came to another little obstruction with the breath. Maybe you had a time in your life when you had a real spurt. And I mean, not in your childhood or teenage years, but even in your adult. You had a spurt of growth in a new direction. Something unexpected, maybe. Or something you foresaw, because the foreseeing is also a part of the will. Maybe that's happening for you right now. It's always happening for all of us. New growth, new directions. Let's close that foot. Lift the weight and one more direction. This movement is a part of the Tai Chi form, known as the push of no push, also known as Tui. That's a Chinese word for push. Movement with no effort. And shift back one last time. And let's come back. See, I have another chat question. Oh, it says people are trying to ask questions and I cannot hear them. That's. I'm so sorry that my sound. See what I can do about that. Yeah, we didn't have time before the class to check the sound properly, which is too bad. So I think it might be better if you just chat me the questions. I'm so sorry that I cannot, I don't want to take the time now to do a thorough check investigation of what's happening here in the middle of our class. So if you have a question, type it in right now, put it to me. What does Tai Chi and Qigong mean in Chinese? Is it suitable for all age groups? Thank you for the question. Tai Chi actually is translated as supreme ultimate, and Qigong means energy work. So the thing is that all Tai Chi is energy work. But usually these days, when we talk about learning Tai Chi, we're talking about learning a form of Tai Chi. That means a choreographed sequence. This is a part of it, but a whole sequence of movements. That is, we call the form. I'm just doing a little fragment of the form right now, so you can see what I'm talking about. In Qigong, in our energy work classes, we do a lot of movements from the form. And all the movements of the form always relate to the 5 elements. You don't usually find that out until you've been studying for a while. And we do them with the seasons and by the elements in our school's Qigong. So we're doing energy work that relates directly to the health and balance of our bodies. And it's directly from the Tai Chi form. And my teacher who studied with Chang Meng Ching was Patrick Watson. Someone asked that question. Okay, so we don't have any actual questions about how to do the work, which is good. That means nobody's doing it with confusion. But if you do have any other questions, please just put them in the chat to me, and that's great. So let's move on. Yes. How are we doing for time? Of course, it's always later than I think it is. I want to do the eye circles, which we have done before. And the eyes are such an important part of the Qigong work. Remember that we make the fists of no fists, soft, adherent fists, with great relaxation and great presence in the fist. We allow the fists, they really were just doing that to keep the fingers out of the way. We allow the pointer fingers to rest on the forehead. And this particular self-massage is being done not by the palm, but by this first knuckle of the thumb. So we've got the fingers resting. All the fingers are basically out of the way, and the only active element now is going to be that knuckle of the thumb. We begin at the nose side of the eye sockets, and we circle around and up over the eyebrows and back down to where we began. That's one circle. Now here's a couple more pointers. The arms can get, if you have issues with your arms getting tired, don't let them get tired doing this. Do it seated. That's one good way to do it. You can also allow your elbows to rest on something as you do it. I'm not going to get a chair now because you won't see me as well. Or you can allow your arms to even rest on your chest. Whatever works for you to keep everything relaxed and soft. And we're going to do these 36 circles of the eyes. There's no pulling of the skin. It's almost like silk gliding on silk. There's no actual pressure, but there is presence and contact. As you bring this healing energy from your dantian to the eyes. Are you still breathing? Are your shoulders and neck relaxed? Your eyes can be closed or your eyes can be open, whatever feels right. You might want to try some circles with each. But do count for yourselves, no more than 36. Shoulders relaxed. Neck and back relaxed. Nice. Good. Okay. Great. We're running low on time. So I think we will skip our vision walk, which I wanted to do today, but we will do that next week, I promise you. But let's move on to the 3 exercises we began with. And these are a very good way or tool to have as a daily routine for yourselves. So we began the class embracing the Tao. We did the yin yang breath after that. And then we did the constant bear and looking owl. You can, for a mnemonic device, you can think of that as TYB. And at the end of the day, if you're doing these as a daily routine, and always at the end of class, we do these in the reverse order. So for your evening routine before bed, you would be doing with the bear, the constant bear. Of course, this is a great movement, position, exercise moment, anytime of the day. Anytime that you need to refresh your energy. I think of it as a reset button. Remember the breath in the dantian. And when you're doing this at night before bed, it is a great moment suddenly to just be there, to revisit those important parts of you, your breath, your dantian. Your feet, listening to the earth, your head top held up to the heavens. The healing breath that's always circulating through you and allowing you to let go each exhale of what you don't need. And let's step in for our yin yang breath. Again, a wonderful reset button tool, useful arrow in your quiver. And at the end of the day, these are a way to let go of the day, to let go of the 10,000 things. Just stay back in your body, in your dantian. In your breath. Go at your own pace, of course, because it's your breath that's making your movements. And remembering at the end of the day, this quality of yang and yin, always changing from one to the other, that are part of our experience of being, right from the breath, the inhalation and the exhalation. Day and night. And waking and sleeping. Let's do two more. And then let your dantian bring the arms up to embrace the Tao. So the last thing before you go to bed, this moment of remembering acceptance. Maybe even waiting. I like to hold this position, not too long at night, but till I feel just a moment of acceptance. Whatever's on my mind has to go just for that. With the breath. Acceptance of yourself, because the Tao is your Tao. It's your way, your path. As well as being all that is indefinable. Okay. I can't ask you if you have any questions. Is bear same as wave hands like clouds? Question from Bene. It's very similar. Yes. Wave hands like clouds is done differently in different teachers' forms, of course. In ours, we call it cloud hands. There's a great similarity, as you've noticed. But they are also, you know, the way we do the constant bear is very specifically this particular movement. It was developed by Professor Chang Manching, the constant bear, as a movement that contained most of the elements, or many of the elements, or all of the elements. I don't want to quote because I'm not sure, of the form. And as doing a session of that would be like doing the form. So Professor Chang did develop that movement, if not all these movements, actually, or interpreted them and passed them to us. So it's a wonderful tradition that we are lucky enough to benefit from. Anybody else? Did I miss any questions? Okay, well, I hope to see you all next week, when I hope we will do the vision walk, another aspect of the wood element. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Tina. Thank you, everybody, for zooming in. And we'll see you again next Monday.